Hello everyone. Today I am going to be talking about how my therapy session went yesterday, and I'm going to be making a gingerbread house. So this is what I'm going to attempt to do. It's like little townhouses, which I think are so cute. So I had therapy yesterday and it did not go how I had expected it to go at all. And I'm really upset about that because our plan was to dedicate the whole therapy session to talking about Lucas and to celebrate his life and to talk about good memories we had and just make the whole session about him. It turns out when I get there that's not what we're talking about at all. Which was really upsetting because I was looking forward to that. I thought that it might be healing to talk about some of the positive things that me and Lucas went through. And if there's anyone new watching my channel, my boyfriend passed away a little over a month ago, and I was supposed to have a therapy session yesterday talking about the good memories we shared. I get there, this was my first time meeting her in person ever, and I've been seeing her for a little over a year. When I get there, it was kind of awkward, and I love my therapist. I've never had any issues with her. She's been amazing since I started seeing her, and for some reason, seeing her in person was just really weird. It kind of threw off the vibe a little bit. I might just be overthinking the whole situation, but to me, the whole session felt very uncomfortable. I'm gonna move these little pieces so I can start building the base of the house. When I got there, I kind of talked about a couple things that were bothering me, and right after that, she kind of like cut me off and started talking about this eating disorder thing, because the last 2 sessions I had with her, we talked about my eating and how it's been hard to eat since Lucas has passed. And to me, I feel like that's a normal part of grieving or losing someone in general. Like, it's hard to eat. She was so convinced that I have an eating disorder. So our whole therapy session revolved around talking about how I have an eating disorder. And I'm really sad because I know that I don't have an eating disorder, but it was hard for me to stick up for myself during this therapy session. So I kind of just was like, okay, like, I'll follow any recommendations, whatever I need to do. And then she started Googling signs of anorexia. She's like, well, do you weigh yourself? And I was like, well, yeah, I have a scale in my bathroom that I weigh myself to see if I'm gaining weight or losing weight, but I'm not worried about gaining weight. I want to gain weight. Like, I know that I need to gain weight, and I've always been a really skinny person my whole life, and that's something that she doesn't really know about me, I don't think. And she didn't really give me a chance to explain that to her. So she's sitting there Googling all these symptoms of anorexia. It's been so long since I've made a gingerbread house, so I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Then she goes on to say, oh, do you look at yourself in the mirror and think that you're like too skinny? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. I told you that in our last session. I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting really skinny. I'm losing weight. Like, I don't want this to happen because I already am small. Why isn't this coming out? It's been hard to eat. And I've kind of always had an issue with eating. It's not something that's new for me, and I don't think that she understands that. And she didn't really give me a chance to explain myself. And it made me really sad that this therapist, who I've trusted and have had nothing but positive things to say about, it felt like she was turning her back on me. And again, my overthinking comes into play. I'm sure she has her best interest at heart. It just didn't feel like I was being heard. My cat really wants to eat the gingerbread. So anyway, she's looking up the symptoms and is basically saying, oh, well, you have body dysmorphia if you're looking at yourself in the mirror. You're worried about how you look. And I'm like, well, that's because I'm concerned. Like, I don't want to be this skinny. I want to keep eating. Like, I'm not scared to eat. It's just that it's been hard to find the motivation to eat. Anyways, I go in there and she's listing off all these symptoms, basically saying, oh, you have this symptom, you have this symptom, you have this symptom. Not even really giving me a chance to like agree, like, okay, yeah, I think I do have that. Basically just speaking for me. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why is she being like this? And our session today was not supposed to be revolved around talking about an eating disorder, and just like very confusing and frustrating. And I have this eating disorder assessment scheduled for next week sometime, and she's basically like, well, you need to go and do this assessment. You're gonna have a new therapist, and basically I cannot be your therapist anymore until you do this program. I just felt extremely uncomfortable. I was like, well, am I gonna be able to like see you after if I go through this program? Because I don't want to lose my therapist. I have a really good connection with her, and it made me really sad, and I felt very confused as to why the session didn't go the way that it was supposed to go, and why it was so centered around my an eating disorder that I don't think I have. I've been eating. I may not be eating as much as I should be, but I'm trying. I want to eat. I want to gain weight, and that's what she does not see. And she tried to tell me that my medications aren't working and that I need to get on all these other meds. And I'm just like, I don't want to be on any other medications. My goal is to get off all medications. I don't want to be on an antidepressant. I don't want to do that. And she was understanding about that part, but I felt very pressured to be like, oh yeah, I'll try a medication and do that. And she's like, yeah, you should try Zyprexa. It's a great medication and it makes you feel so good. And I'm just like, well, that's great that it makes people feel good, but I also don't want to numb how I'm feeling and not be the person that I am. Like, I don't want a medication to mask the person that I am. I want to be who I am and find other ways to cope with depression and anxiety. And I don't necessarily think or believe that, oh shoot, well, that didn't work. I don't necessarily believe that medication is always the answer. And I was really sad that that's how she was looking at it. I left my therapy session feeling worse than I did when I got there. And I wish I had not driven all the way an hour out to go see her. I felt like she let me down, and she basically was like, you need a higher level of care. I am not able to help you anymore. And that made me really sad because I feel like she still can help me. I'm not sure if she's maybe willing to do that. I don't know. She was talking about how she's had many clients die from being anorexic because their organs fail. And I'm just sitting here thinking, does she think I'm gonna die? And that's why she's sending me over to somewhere else? Or maybe she does truly care about me and my well-being. I don't know. I talked to a lot of people afterwards. I talked to Lucas's family about it. I talked to my family. I talked to friends. They all think like, okay, there's something wrong with your therapist. Like, why is she doing that to you? Like misdiagnosing me. It left me feeling way worse than I had felt, and I had a really hard day yesterday. But yeah, that was very frustrating and upsetting because it was not what I wanted to hear. Anyways, I just feel like I'm being misdiagnosed and not being heard. I feel like my therapist should be able to understand what I'm saying. Yeah, so my day just like totally went the opposite from what I thought it was gonna go. I guess that's okay. It is what it is. I just have to move on. I have a doctor's appointment coming up on Monday, and I'm going to talk to him because I don't think that she's necessarily hearing me out. Lucas would have loved to make this gingerbread house with me. I wish he was here right now. I love to do this kind of stuff together, and oh, everything is about to collapse. Hold on, I gotta check the instructions here. I'm doing this whole thing wrong. Doesn't need to be perfect. perfect. Therapy thing, I don't know. I think I might need just a little bit of a break from this therapy stuff because after this last meeting, I wasn't making any progress. And maybe that's what she meant by that she can't help me anymore, is because it's out of her control, or she just doesn't think that she's able to give me the support that I need, and that could definitely be the case. But I definitely did not leave that office feeling good about myself, I'll tell you that. It made me feel terrible. I just feel like that's not fair of her to be like, well, if you don't go to this eating disorder program, I can't be your therapist anymore. It just felt wrong to me, and I don't know if that's normal for a therapist to do, to just basically cut you off like that, but it didn't feel right. Therapist should be someone that you trust, and for the most part I do trust her, and who knows, maybe I do have an eating disorder, but everyone that I talk to that knows me has known that I've been skinny my whole life and just doesn't agree with the fact that she is trying to tell me that I have this disorder and I need to be seen by a specialist. Like I said, I think I just need a break from therapy to just, I don't know, I'm open to suggestions if anyone's got any, because at this point I just am unsure of what to do, or if this is right of my therapist to do on her behalf. Hope this doesn't collapse. The back looks really bad. But all I can do is just keep moving forward and not let that bother me, because in my heart I know that this whole eating disorder thing doesn't feel right, in my opinion. I don't feel like I restrict myself from eating. I don't feel like I have the characteristics of someone who has anorexia, besides the fact that I'm skinny. Besides the therapy session gone wrong, I have had a pretty productive day, I'd like to say. Wrote down some goals that I have, and I also have a lot of stuff done today. I am preparing for my trip, getting stuff ready for the animals, had to go buy dog food, cat food, get all that stuff ready for the sitter. And the Target, got this gingerbread kit. If any of you have made it this far in the video, my gingerbread house, I bought this at Target. I believe it was like 30% off. All their Christmas stuff is on sale right now. I don't know what this piece is for, so maybe I'll eat that later. There's supposed to be the steps, which I think is going to be way too hard for me to do. I'll have to give you guys an update on how the gingerbread house goes, because it's going to take a little bit longer than I thought. Hope no one has to go through misdiagnosis from a therapist, because it sucks. It makes you feel very uncomfortable, and it almost leads to more anxiety and worry. That's not helping. At this point, I just want to feel better, and I don't think joining an eating disorder program, which would be Monday through Friday, hours a day, is what I need. I think I just need to be strong, like I have been doing and trying so hard to do, and just making small improvements each day. That's all I can do. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and Drew is going crazy right now, so I'm gonna say goodbye. Bye.